Hello guys and girls, and welcome back to Geekism. My name is Shanty and we're here in Planet Coaster beginning our pirate area. It feels like it's been ages since I said that we were originally going to do a pirate area, but we had to get Western all done with. Hopefully you all enjoyed the Ballad of Fairwater. I was waiting for that to get finished up before we started on the pirate area. I had to obviously wait for the voiceover guy to get his stuff done for me, so I would like to have started this a couple of days ago, but hopefully you enjoyed the little cinematic we did of Fairwater there. Anyway, we dive in to the pirate area. This episode's a bit of a mix and match, really. We kind of do a little bit of everything, and for the most part it's me kind of exploring the theme, because even though Pirates was one of the themes that came very early in the game, really, I think it may have even been in the first ever theme, even back in Alpha. I didn't play in Alpha, apart from the weekend they did, the Party in the Park weekend. And in beta, I made a conscious decision not to do pirate too much, because obviously a lot of the videos that were already out there were pirates, and I even felt like I'd seen a lot of the theme even though I hadn't actually played the game. So I specifically decided to go for Western to start off with, because it was one of the new themes, and then come back to pirates at a later date. We have a guy there, not quite manages to get his treasure luck. But I'm so glad I left it for a little while, because I'm now coming to it totally revitalised and really energised, and there's something really sort of creative, I don't know what the word is, sort of creating creativity in me by using a new theme. And you know, we've been doing Western for so many weeks now, it's kind of nice to see new parts that beforehand I just sort of brushed over. Anyway, let's get into it, what we're doing here. This is the island in between the two areas, between Fairwater and whatever the pirate one ends up being called. On this side is a pirate sort of cove, little desert island with a skull fountain there. A lot of people mention that I should use lighting more, so you'll notice from now on there'll be a section in each one where we actually go in and make some lighting and make it look good, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. The other side of this island, I'm not really sure what to do. Obviously it's facing the western area, it's just behind Jezebel, so I don't really know what to do with it. Any ideas what we can do with a small island? I'm thinking maybe just like a mini mine or something, just a little mine entrance or something, I'm not too sure. Anyway, finish off this area here with a little bit of a shipwreck. Utilising some of the pirate pieces and some of the weeds and seaweeds and stuff like that. It all looks really great. It's so much fun using a new bit of kit. So here we start work on our main pirate area. You'll see later on when we zoom out that the pirate area is actually on a loop. There's two entrances to it. That was a conscious decision, because I feel that maybe with the western area people get a little bit sort of stuck towards the end, you know, and I don't like the idea that there's a cul-de-sac almost. I don't really know what other terms to use for it, really. This sort of like dead end, I suppose. And I've noticed in real theme parks they very rarely do that. If you keep walking you'll always end up somewhere, so that's one thing I want to do here. And also I really want to break the pirate area up into two, maybe even three parts. The first part here that we're working on at the moment is going to be very much a sort of colonial port cum pirate harbour, so sort of colonial port that pirates have taken over. Think sort of like Tortuga style, you know, lots of sandstone, lots of ship parts, and you know, sort of pirate flags hanging and all that sort of stuff. That's going to be the main area on this side, and then on the other side I want a very much sort of like shanty town, flotsam and jetsam, you know, sort of pirates set up on a desert island, and that's going to be the other entrance that we do a little bit of work on today. And then also tied into that shantytown area, somebody in the comments had a great idea of doing sort of like a very kiddie area as well, mostly based around the Whirly Gig, which is a pirate ride in the game that's very, very kiddie. It's like a mini Ferris wheel, but it's all very brightly coloured and everything, and I love the idea of doing a really focused child area as well. And even some of the pirate themes pieces, they're very brightly coloured. There's a really good sign that says "Here be pirates, pirate village," that in these sort of builds won't work, I don't think, because I'm still going for a slightly sort of realistic build, although we do use things like the skull and crossbones and things here. It's a little bit too bright, so I think a sort of mini sort of kiddie pirate village, maybe even with something like a pirate based playground, although it won't actually work, it'll just be there for show. I think that'd be a really good idea as well. So again, concentrating on lighting here as well, lighting the lights, still trying to get all the lighting to be realistic so you can see the spotlights, but they're usually hidden by scenery. You'll see here we go and add a few spotlights onto the fountain there, but we cover it up with rocks. I still want a very sort of realistic park as best I can. The next job was to carry on the train and move the train station into the area. I've done something slightly different this time. We're having the train station as its own building, separate building, as opposed to it being over the entrance like we did with the western area. And then also we've taken the train out of the areas into the middle of the park. You'll see in the next part. That's mainly because the area that will be to the left of this, as you're looking now, will be sci-fi, and I really don't think the Connie Express will fit well in sci-fi, so instead we'll bring it out into what will be the fairy tale area and then back to the outside of the park further round. So here is the entrance for the sort of shantytown pirate village. It's a little smaller than the entrance we do on the main area. It still needs a bit of work, but overall I'm really happy with it. Love these sort of shanty pieces, these little huts and flotsam and jetsam and all that. I think it works really well together, and there's something so much fun after having the sort of relatively conformity of the western area, you know, because they're all sort of proper buildings and things. The fact here that you can just sort of throw bits together and have bits of ship hanging off, and that was ship with a P, and you know, all just like flags hanging and netting and everything. It was so much fun. It was quite liberating. I've really enjoyed myself building this stuff. You'll see we've popped a little animatronic lookout guy. Somebody mentioned in the comments the other day one thing they'd like to see, and it's actually my number one thing in the game as well to see. It's probably quite a small thing for a lot of people, but for detailers like me, it's really useful. More animatronics that aren't fighting. And that sounds daft, but there's only pretty much that pirate who's looking out, and a couple of the sci-fi pieces as a guy typing into a computer and a guard. Pretty much other than that, every animatronic in the game is either shooting or something like that, and it'd be really nice to see some non-combative animatronics. So in the pirate area, you know, I'm thinking sort of Pirates of the Caribbean, you know, the drunken guy in the barrel and all those sorts of things. They'd be really good to see in future. So here we move on to the main sort of Tortuga style entrance. It's basically a large fort. This fort will carry on all the way down the side of the lake there. We've just done the entranceway here today. And the main key points here is it's mostly sandstone, lots of cargo around and things like that. And I wanted it to be very much like a lived-in fort that pirates had taken over. So you won't see so much of the pirate sort of netting and flotsam and jetsam stuff here. This will be more sort of colonial fort that the pirates have moved into. That's the style here. So we built an archway there to head into the park, and that's also where the train goes. So we've just decorated the inside of that train, and then we make a start on the main sort of building here. It's purely for show. Nothing's going to happen inside, although we do place a few shops on one end of it. But the main point here is to sort of just tie in and create a bit of a weenie, I guess, into the pirate area, and I think it works there as you're walking up the path from the western area to see this huge fort with the pirate ship in the background. I think it's really striking, and it's a really great image. Try and add a bit of sandstone here to break up the colour. End up not liking it. Go back and not sandstone, sorry, stucco. Ending up going back to the sandstone, and we actually create a lot of colour out of the flags and natural colours as well from plants and things like that. So it's okay. At the moment, it all looks very sort of brown, but we do break that up later on. Using a bit of the tower pieces there, quite happy with how they turned out, but wanted a bit of a larger tower, so we end up going back to this area and creating a large watchtower here. Again, that we can pop a little lookout guy, a couple of cannons sort of scouting out and securing the area, and then we can start work on some of the detail. That's most of the building done. We maybe build a little bit more above the train in a moment, but for the most part now it's mostly detailing. You'll see here, there we go, we block in that building there, and again it's all about layering, detailing. Layering is very important with this sandstone building because the pattern is quite striking. If you just kind of build a big box, you'll see there around the sort of walls there on the side, it can get a little bit overpowering, so you've got to constantly layer up. So here we build a little sort of balcony post area and use some of the balustrade pieces and support pieces and all these bits just to break up any sort of large expanses of wall basically. And then this large area here, we had some wood. Actually, we don't use too much wood here because I'm still a bit sick of wood from the western area. So we use a little bit of wood just to break it up, and again we go back in there with some windows and things, and it's all just about using layers and different sort of angles to really break up those large expanses of brick. Again, we cover this tower over, add it over there. I think it's a little high. I think we drop it down a little bit. Yeah, there we go. But again, I wanted a sort of variation in height as we went along, and just around the back. The back area of this isn't finished yet. I didn't go around and do windows or anything like that. This is purely detailed from the front at the moment. We finish off a bit of a support there, and a skull light. It needs a little bit more detail, that post there. I'll go back to do that in the next episode. And then it's, like I say, it's just a case of detailing out with some of the new features. You have to be quite not intuitive, what's the word, sort of, I don't know, creative I suppose, with the pirate pieces when it comes to detailing, because there aren't that many actually, considering it was the first theme in the game. There aren't that many pieces, and we've kind of been spoilt with the western area, because the western and the sci-fi have a lot more pieces to use for detailing than the pirate one does. You'll see when we come to sort of adding pieces on to the top of the building here, we are a little bit limited in what we can do. There's a large cargo piece. You'll notice here I've put a chief beef sign. Sorry, I'll go back to that point in a moment. There's a large chief beef sign, even though the shops actually are Pip Shot and Pizza Pal or Pizza Pen. I just love the sort of one wood of the chief beef sign, so I don't care that it's the wrong shop. Yeah, so regarding detailing pieces, you'll see we move up to do some here. There's that large cargo piece there. There is a campsite that's kind of pirate or western really. And then there's that piece there with the fruit. There are barrels. And then a few other pieces, and that's pretty much it. So you'll see me use a lot of barrels and a lot of the western crates even as well, and the cargo pieces. And for the most part, it's just using those in different formations and just to create a bit of variation. So you'll see, it's a case of using the barrels, stacking the barrels up, turning a few on their side, using a barrel with a crate, using a crate with a couple of barrels. It's just breaking up so they're not so similar all the time. And then the last thing we do is finish off with some natural decoration. And again, this will carry on through the area. I've just done a little bit here along the path to show you what it's going to look like. I realise that I've covered up those nice flame torches we did there. So instead we'll knock those back and we create just a little set piece here using the rowboat and some treasure. And again, I want you to remember that this is a theme park, so this isn't going to be a real pirate building, a real pirate cove. This is going to be a theme park version of Pirate Cove, so there's going to be a lot of buried treasure and big skulls and over-the-top things like that. Same we've done with the western area. There's a lot of over-the-top features and sort of set features that you would find in a theme park. Very much so, this sign is one of them, these huge cutlass and skull and crossbones, and we need a name. So if you think of anything, maybe wait until a little bit later in the series so you can see some of the building and before we start coming up with names, but anything you can think of, it does help. So we started off there with our Pirate Cove area, a little tropical island full of treasure and booty and other things, and then we did our ship. We'll probably have another one of those ships at some point, I think. You can see some of the lighting we did there as well, looking quite nice in the sunset. And we moved over, did a couple of shops there, nothing too posh. We might go back and do a bit more detailing. There's our Flotsam and Jetsam entrance for the kiddie area. And finally, our Tortuga style pirate fort, which will be a lot bigger by the time it's finished. Another thing a lot of people have been asking for is a sort of overview of the park. So you can see here, I'll do one of these at the end of every video. You can see there the total loop around. So on the left hand side there will be our sort of shanty pirate town, where we have the whirligig and maybe the pirate ship even. And then on the other side there we have the pirate port, which will house the log flume, big pirate dark ride we're going to be doing, and whatever coaster we end up doing as well, which we probably will do a wooden coaster, I'm thinking. Will probably fit the theme quite well. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give us a like. It really does help out the channel. Share the video amongst your friends as well. Don't spam it, but anyone you think would enjoy it, let them know. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one.